Bangkok's air pollution has reached the kind of level where even your morning coffee feels like it needs a gas mask. But fear not, Thailand has come up with a rather cool solution. Instead of, say, cracking down on emissions or curbing crop burning, officials are sending aircraft into the skies to dump dry ice over the smog in hopes that it will quite literally chill out. It's an ambitious, slightly sci-fi sounding experiment. But will Bangkok's toxic haze actually take the hint and disperse? Or is this just another case of throwing ice cubes at a wildfire? Here's our report.
Bangkok has long been known for its vibrant street food, buzzing nightlife, and unfortunately, its thick lung-clogging smog. But now Thailand has taken a rather unconventional approach to tackle its air pollution problem. It is by dumping dry ice from the sky. Yes, you heard that right. Instead of sticking to conventional methods like reducing emissions or limiting crop burning, authorities have decided to take to the skies, armed with aircraft, large containers of icy water, and a whole lot of hope. The idea? Spray cold water or dry ice over Bangkok's atmospheric blanket of pollution, cool it down, and let the trapped smog float away like a bad memory. It is an ambitious, albeit unproven experiment, but when the air quality index starts looking more like a toxic waste reading, desperate times call for desperate measures. On paper, theory behind this airborne ice bath seems almost poetic. By reducing the temperature difference between atmospheric layers, the stubborn PM 2.5 particles should in theory rise and disperse. But as critics point out, that's a big should. The Royal Rainmaking Department, which usually focus on coaxing rain from reluctant clouds, has repurposed its planes for this experimental smog-busting mission. Twice a day, aircraft take off from various bases across the country, loaded up to a ton of ice and water, and let it ripe over the skies of Bangkok city. Scientists on board track the aircraft's path with an iPad, while the crew members dutifully spray ice water from blow-up containers, watching it disappear into the haze below. Whether this actually clears the air or just adds a touch of theatrical flair to the pollution crisis, it remains to be seen. Cloud seeding has been around for decades. China, the UAE, and even the US have used it to make rain, reduce smog, and sometimes just put on a good show. But even the best rain-making efforts are a hit or miss, with studies showing only marginal success. Thailand's air pollution peaks between December and April. This is when dry weather and unfavorable winds keep the smog trapped over the city like a stubborn fog of doom. Since cloud seeding requires actual clouds to work, this new cloud blasting technique was devised as an alternative. To measure its success, another aircraft flies behind the spray mission. It records pollutant levels before and after the operation. So far, officials claim there's visible improvement, though no one is saying this will magically make the pollution disappear. Still, the effort isn't cheap. Each flight costs up to $1,500, and with multiple flights taking off from 3 different bases, the daily bill can hit $9,000. That's a lot of money for a technique that many scientists remain skeptical about. As if the irony wasn't thick enough, some of the biggest contributors to Thailand's pollution problem, fossil fuel companies, have stepped up to provide the dry ice. Thailand's oil and gas giant PTT, along with Bangkok Industrial Gas, have been more than happy to supply the solid carbon dioxide needed for the operation. In a statement, one executive described their donation as part of their commitment to creating a sustainable future, conveniently sidestepping the fact that their industries are a major reason Bangkok is choking in the first place. While Bangkok's sky ice experiment makes for great headlines, experts argue that the real solution lies in tackling pollution at its source. That means cutting vehicle emissions, enforcing stricter air quality regulations, and putting an end to mass crop burning. Because at the end of the day, you can't just air condition a city out of a smog crisis.
We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we've put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbors were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Pretty measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
We were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote effort. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion. 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.